Welcome to the No Grow Go podcast. I'm Matt Jordan. I'm the senior pastor here at First Methodist Church Enterprise. And today we are on the road. We are set up at the new Jimmy H. Baker Center for the Arts on the campus of Enterprise State Community College. And we have with us a very, very special guest who is the director of this space, Miss Jessica Goodson, who's also a dear friend of mine and family, which I'm excited about and grateful for. And today we wanted to share a little bit about the Baker Center and what they do for the community. And the reason we want to do this is, as many of you know, this is the week as we are preparing for Easter Sunday, April the 5th at 10:30 a.m. We have our Easter worship service here at the Jimmy H. Baker Center. And this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful time of worship for us. But a lot of folks still don't know all about the Baker Center. A lot in our church do because they serve on various organizations that utilize this space and have attended events here already. But we wanted to utilize this time and space to not just remind you of the Easter worship service that's going to be right behind this wall here in the auditorium on April the 5th at 10:30, but also to share a little bit about the Baker Center. So, Jessica, if you would just introduce yourself a little bit, what you do, a little bit about you, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm Jessica Goodson. I am the director here at the Jimmy H. Baker Center for the Arts. The Jimmy H. Baker Center for the Arts is on the campus of Enterprise State Community College. It is the newest building that is the first building that's been built since like the 80s.
Yeah.
So it is and it's also been, this Performing Arts Center has been coming to fruition for many, many, many years. So, I probably am going to get my facts wrong, but around the 80s, they had raised, about $1 million to be matched with the legislation to be able to build a performing arts center on the campus, and then didn't make it through that process, and so it kind of died, unfortunately. So then in 2025, the center finally opened, September 30th. We've had over 50 events in the space since we've opened, which is about 7 months. We have just hit the ground running. It's been a combination of community events, free community events, as well as presented acts that we've been bringing from all over the country to perform for the Wiregrass, and we've had a great turnout so far. We've had around 15,000 patrons come through the doors for all of these events, and in April 7th, we're going to be bringing Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, which will be our final kids show of the year, and that's going to be a field trip show. We will have brought in 4,000 students from kindergarten to 8th grade through the center in our first season. So we're just really excited. The goal is to hit the ground running. We've done it. I mean,
that's great.
We've tried all the things.
Well, and I've my wife Mary Evelyn's been a part of the community college since May 1st, and Jimmy H. Baker is one of our church members, and being involved in different things in the community. I've got to see this space start from a plot of grass and grow into what it is now. Tell us a little bit about how that process felt in just seeing these things happen and being constructed, and those. The reason I asked that, we're building a children's ministry center at the church. We're hoping to start that within the next few weeks, and a couple of months rather, to start breaking ground. And I'm already anxious and excited and all the things, but being able to see it, and you were already working in this role before the center was completed. So tell us a little bit about what that felt like to see this come to what it is now.
Yeah, I want to think the building was probably about 75% done when they brought me on April 1st. So I'm about to hit my 1-year anniversary of being
happy anniversary.
Here. Yeah, thank you. And when I originally interviewed for the job, I sold it as this center could be a lot more than just an auditorium, just for internal events and things like that. I wanted it to be really a cultural hub for the Wiregrass in our region. And I thought, I actually gave the pitch. My pitch was, don't let the pigeon drive the bus.
Yeah.
So I took that as kind of like a little case study, like, this is how we would bring them in. This is how we would support them. This is how we would pay for it. This is, that kind of thing. And anyway, the administration really seemed to be sold on that. They, for better or for worse, Sam, my husband, likes to call me, I'm like a dog with a bone. So if you give me a task and I get excited about it, like, we're going to do it and we're going to do it all.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's good, sometimes maybe not. But for here, it's been really great. We've brought in a ton of different types of acts this year already. Really tried to stretch the limits of the building and kind of see what the capabilities were here. So we, in November, we brought in Dolly Parton's Smoky Mountain Christmas Carol, which was the largest act that we brought in. And it took 50 volunteers to make that show go on. Coming from a visual art background into the performing arts, I learned a lot, and I've really been kind of seeing how everything functions. And I like to think I'm a quick learner, but I really wasn't prepared for how much it was going to take to put on these productions. Yeah. And after seeing the Dolly Parton and seeing our community come together and like make that happen, it was very, very encouraging, and overwhelming.
Yeah.
but it was awesome. And I think it's hard for people to understand what all goes into making a center like this function. But kind of going back. So when I came in April, it was about 75% done. And they hired me and I got a tour and I got to walk through, but there were no seats or anything in the auditorium. And but I could already see what the potential was. I will say, as you start building your new center, and my husband works in construction, so expect it to be delayed.
Yeah, that's right.
If they say it's going to be this month, expect it a couple months later. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the space we live in right now.
Right.
ESCC is trying to bridge that gap with our workforce development building.
Yeah.
Kind of build, because it's a workforce issue. It's not necessarily a planning issue. It's having the people to make it all happen. So, but this building, which was supposed to take about 1.5 years, ended up taking 3 years to open. So, September 30th was our grand opening date, and it was a little touch and go there, toward the end. Hoping we had everything lined up, but we weren't sure if we were going to actually be able to open the doors. And thankfully we did. We did not have furniture, but we did open. So,
well, and you mentioned, both in the capacity of the Dolly Parton Christmas Carol, of having 50 volunteers, mm-hmm. and also mentioning, the part about the workforce. And I love all that Jimmy Baker's bringing to the community college system, and all that he's trying to do, mm-hmm. in workforce development. Even everyone says I'm not supposed to talk about Sneed State because she's now an employee of ESCC.
Yeah, it's okay.
But I'm a parson through and through. I love the Weevils, but he's even helped get them a new workforce development center, which is just an awesome space and so needed. Mm-hmm. But in the church, and this, we rely upon volunteers for everything. Even our church, we have less than 12 staff members, and we have a congregation on the rolls of 425 and nearly 300 every Sunday, and we utilize volunteers every day. Right. And so how is it, especially when you consider a community theater on a college campus, how essential are volunteers in what you do?
Well, so right now it's Chris Brooks is our chief technician, so he does the sound, AV, sound lighting, and he is excellent. And then there's me, and so we are the only two full-time staff here at the center. And especially with the capacity of what we're doing, we wouldn't be able to function without our volunteers. So right now we mainly have, ushers, greeters, box office, the concessions, and then, that's just covering like front of house, and then back of house, all the tech needs that we have. The reason we had to have 50 volunteers for Dolly Parton is because they had a labor call of like 40 people, and they're asking for electricians and carpenters, and these are people that can hang lights. I mean, it's mainly plugging in. They're not like wiring things,
Right.
but helping put together props and sets and all this. But these are big time traveling shows. They're looking for skilled labor. We didn't have access to that like you would around Birmingham, as far as like theatrical skilled labor. So we ended up pulling a lot of help from like our aviation campus. So the majority of our electricians and carpenters were actually like aviators that
Nice.
came over. And so they may have been a little overqualified for what they were doing.
A prop's a little different than a rotor
Right.
on a helicopter.
But it was definitely it was great. And just having that buy-in from, not only that faculty and staff over there, but just like from the community, the fact that we could pull that many people together to just come give their time was excellent. There's other facilities that we've been talking to and trying to get perspective on things. And that is the hardest part, is finding that labor, that's willing to come in. And they're having a hard time paying for that labor to come in. Whereas, we were able to pull 50 people in just a matter of a few days to come help. So I think it's wonderful, of course, to get that help, but it's also excellent exposure to something different in the area. We had several like high school students that came and volunteered, and, they got to see this huge act and see how they're pulling this all together. And honestly, I mean, they're living on the road, and it's incredible how they just go from place to place. Dolly Parton, it's kind of my it's kind of my litmus test, or my like, if we can do Dolly, we can do anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
that was kind of where we were from the very beginning. Like, whatever their requirements were, if we had those and we could meet those, then I felt like we could really break through and we could bring in lots of other stuff. So they had 2 53-foot tractor trailers worth of stuff that they brought in. And I was just like, I don't understand how this works. Like, what all are you bringing in? But I mean, it was everything from their sound, their lights. We had to take down every light fixture on every batten in our stage. We had to move the soft goods, which are your curtains and legs and all this. We had to move all of that. And then they just totally took over the facility. I mean, there were wires and stuff everywhere. It was insane. Wow. And it all happened in 8 hours. They loaded all in 8 hours. They executed the show, and then they got out in 4, and they were on their way to Oxford. It was insane. And then I did quickly realize, though, that lifestyle that they're living was not for me. Because I was up here at like 6 a.m. They got here, they were actually running a little behind. They got here around 9 a.m. And then we hit it for hours and hours. The show was at 7. They ended up starting at 7:30. They were only 30 minutes behind, which was really incredible. And then, 9 o'clock, we were pulling everything out, loading everything back up. And these guys were about to sleep for about 4 hours. They were going to Oxford, loading in again at 5 a.m.
Goodness gracious.
And then they were going to be doing a matinee and an evening show in Oxford, Alabama. It was incredible. I was like, and so the next day, which Sam had been up here with me, he's my chief volunteer.
Yeah. Husband's normally are.
Yes, yeah. The built-in also couldn't do it without him. So we literally, like, I think the kids, they stayed overnight at my in-laws. And so anyway, the next day we're like in bed the entire day. Yeah. Could not move. We were so worn out from this one, 24-hour experience. I'm like, these guys are doing this for months at a time.
That's ridiculous. I could not do that.
It was insane. So, but after that also gave me this wonderful perspective of like what these guys are experiencing. And our motto here at the Baker Center is radical hospitality. So I want to make sure that we're taking care of like our patrons, but also our artists, and their crew. I mean, these guys, they are killing themselves. So I'm like, if I can give you a sandwich tray
Right.
and, give you some enterprise swag and make you feel loved and comfortable while you're here, then, that's kind of the least I can do. So,
That's right.
anyway, it was pretty wild.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
when you think about shows like that, the next question that comes to my mind is, well, how many people can be in that space to
Oh,
see
yeah.
something like that? So
Right.
what's the capacity for the Baker Center?
Yeah, so we have 600 seats, and there's not a bad seat in the house,
No, there
which
isn't.
people say that, but there's really not. They've designed it very there's no obstructions anywhere. Um, we do tier our pricing. We're doing typically reserve seating, which I like because I want you to come in, relax. We have a lot of lounging areas. You already know where you're going to sit, so you don't have to rush the door or anything. And but we tier the pricing, and it's not really based on like better seats, worse seats. It's more just kind of creating some affordability, perhaps. But yeah, it's been really good. I would love, maybe one day we'll add 200 more seats, like a balcony or something.
Yeah.
Would be nice. The acoustics are incredible though. And yeah, visuals great. I mean, even the back row in the corner,
Yeah.
it looks great.
I've been able to attend a few events, and it's always a great seat in the house everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I absolutely love about the Baker Center is the Steinway.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about the Steinway.
Yeah, so we do have a 9-foot concert grand D Steinway, and the college did invest in that. So Steinways can range from 175,000 to 300,000. I mean, they're in more. They can get up into the millions. The college did somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible instrument. We've had it tuned several times. It's been used a lot. My favorite part is that it is such an expensive instrument. But they are allowing anybody and everybody to interact with it. So we have like 8-year-olds that come, and we've got some homeschool groups that are in like string orchestra and things like that, or they take lessons from Miss Carol here, and so they'll come in and they get to play on the Steinway, which is incredible. There's not a ton of opportunity for that around here. The next big investment that's supposed to be coming is an organ. They had built the infrastructure in the walls. When you go in, there's kind of, I don't know exactly all the technical piece. Chris would be better at this, but I know there's like some stereo speakers and things that go all around the room. So it's almost like a surround sound experience, and it will hook up to the organ. And that is also a very expensive investment. It's also kind of a dying art, and so the college really wanted to make sure that art continues. There's not a lot of people that teach the organ anymore, so they're trying to make sure that our fine arts division is offering that.
I think when you consider a community theater like this, some of the things that this space offers that to me are so special. When you consider a community, being able to attend class here, being able to be interactive with things of that nature, it would have been just as easy to get a $20,000 Yamaha in place of that. But when you can offer that to the community and give them the absolute best, to me, it's a reflection both of the radical hospitality and the investment that the college is willing to make into the community. And when you think about the community coming into a space like this, to be able to walk in and say this is our space, that we get to enjoy and we get to share and we get to serve in, to me is so special. And I think when you consider the community theater side of being able to offer all these different acts, to host different events and things of that nature, to allow churches to come in for Easter worship services, all of those things, what to you is the most special or important aspect of a community theater that you never want to lose in this space?
Yeah, so Dr. Thomas, who's the chair of the Fine Arts Division, it was really important to him, and I think he really shared that passion with the administration that these investments are for the community, and that he showed how important, because President Danny Long, credible president, I'm just like so grateful to be able to serve under him. He sees the big picture here and what the potential is.
Yeah.
And I think, when Dr. Thomas said, hey, there's this very expensive instrument, but it's going to, the return on investment is going to be the interaction with the community. I think it was kind of a no-brainer. So that's always been, they always say this is the community's college. And so I think it's just more opportunity for people to come in and experience it. Not only through classes, but just through a free community event. I mean, y'all are going to be utilizing the Steinway.
Yeah.
President Long recognized that and waived our fee for that. You know what I mean? Yes, yeah, and which we're grateful. But it's like that's a perfect example. Of course, if we've got a big rental that's coming in and charging and is going to make money, then we will probably charge for the use of the Steinway, because there is some wear and tear that happens on that. Yeah. But this is a perfect example of like, he has such a great vision for working together, and blending that. We don't want there to be a barrier to exposure to these things.
Yeah.
There's no gatekeeping here, which I really love. And so that's also why we're bringing in these acts and trying to keep them affordable for people to come and participate, and also offering like lots of free opportunities. Our Fine Arts Division puts on lots of things that, for anybody to come and enjoy and learn. And oh, that's what I was going to say. I'm sorry. So with the presenting acts that we're bringing in, one of the focuses in our new season is bringing in acts that also offer residencies, and workshops, and those are going to be free opportunities for anybody in the community, not just our internal. That'll be announced over the summer.
Sure.
But that was part of it. It was like we wanted to get several acts that have that kind of built in. So that should be really, really interesting.
Well, for me, my first exposure to any type of theater and performing arts and those sorts of things, I went to a small 3A school in the county. We didn't have that. I think we had a show choir program at one point, and it didn't make. So when Marilyn and I started dating, she was wanting to go to Albertville to see their show choir performance, showing me her videos. I was like, I have never once been a part of any of that. But I was an ambassador for Sneed State, and they've got a community theater there, their fine arts department. And then I worked at the Gunnersville Public Library, and right behind it's the whole backstage community theater.
Oh, cool.
And those were spaces that I was first introduced to see students and community members involved in those things. And most of the time they were either free or very reasonably priced tickets, and things that people could be involved in. And the lives that it touched for so many people was so impactful. And I think when I love that about ESCC, that it's the community's college, and that's so crucial to see. And our church has a deep connection with the college, where when it was being built, some of the earliest classes were hosted at the church before they had the campus built, and so it's a special place in our heart. But when you think about the Baker Center and all the events that have happened in the past season, I'm going to ask you a hard question. Which one of those has been your favorite?
Oh man,
and why?
I know, right? So we have brought in a variety of things, and we did that on purpose. I wanted to bring in. We brought in magic, and we brought in a lot of kids stuff. We brought in the Broadway style, a lot of kind of tribute concert style stuff. People love a concert around here.
They do.
I am finding that that's probably been the most popular for the community so far. Have been the concerts. We're bringing in Liverpool Legends this week, and we're over half sold, so that's going to be great. Um, I personally, we brought in Cat Kid Comic Club. I think it was in September or October, and that was for our second and third graders. And we had, I think it was 1,200 students that came to that show, and the joy that they got from that show, that was the most fun. Was to see the kids interact.
Yeah.
There's this really, really silly part because Cat Kid Comic Club is kind of like Dogman adjacent. It's a Dave, oh man, his last name, but the author, it is kind of comic-y and it's a little silly and all this, but they sing this one song and it's called Spider Butt. And so he's got a guy that's up there and he's shaking his little spider butt and he's singing the song and they're all chanting and they just had like a blast. Like those kids came out of here and they were thrilled. And I know for a fact that some of these kids have never seen live theater before.
Yeah.
And so it was so cool for them to get so excited. And even like walking into the center, because it is a more upscale experience. We've got really pretty carpet and furniture and all this stuff. And the kids, I wrote down all these like quotes that they said as they were like walking through the center and they were like, is this a hotel? Is this where the president lives? You know, I wonder if they're hiring, like things like that. It was so cute and it was fun. And I think they just really left, I feel like it's one of those core memories that you'll look back on and they'll really think like, whether they go into theater one day or not, but I think it's going to live with them. I've got some of those memories from when I was a kid and I know we did art classes and stuff. I don't really remember my math class very much, but I remember the little clay pinch pot that we made in like second grade. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the kind of things that really live with you. And I want them to find a little passion in that, hopefully get inspired and want to come back and bring their kids back one day. And so anyway, I think it's a start of a tradition.
Yeah, I think so too. And I tell you, I went to the University of Mobile, and the big thing at the University of Mobile is the arts department. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Voices of Mobile and the Ram Corps and all these things. But they also had worship arts, and what that was really audiovisual. So how to create presentations, how to manipulate soundboards, all those sorts of things, which is all a crucial part of every performance. And when I was in college, I worked for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes for a while. When I moved to Mobile, I was asking around where I could get plugged in with a local FCA there, and they had, of course, the Senior Bowl happens in Mobile. Mm-hmm. Well, they have a kickoff that's hosted by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So I volunteered to help. And I know that they had enough help because they sent me to be the cleanup crew. My job was rolling up cables. Yeah. And I was grateful for my dad, who was a lot like Sam Goodson in the capacity of there's a proper way to roll up a cable.
There is. And there is a proper way.
There's a proper way to do all of that. And so they didn't have to teach me that. And he said, look, I've moved this kid over here. Your job is to just roll these cables up. That's all you need to do. I said, you got it. But that's a huge part of performance that other people don't see. Because just to be honest with you, I mean, I grew up hunting and fishing and in the country and those things. And so community theater wasn't a great interest to me. However, being able to see so many of those things happen and to see how these things are put together and all of that is so intriguing to me. So I think the diversity of each of those performances, concert, kids play, the behind the scenes, the volunteers getting involved, it's not only a place for people to serve in the community, but for young people to discern, the diversity of a career in any capacity. And diversity of your shows is a great testament to this space, but the diversity of the space itself is also unique, because if you've never been in the Baker Center, what you'll notice when you walk in, it's this massive room, and it does. I mean, I've been in hotels with smaller lobbies. I've been in Hiltons with smaller lobbies. You're waiting to see somebody in a vest and a bow tie offer you a free cookie when you walk in here. I mean, it's a great space, and you got the Founders Lounge, you've got the auditorium, you've got the ginormous lobby, and y'all been able to host, career and transfer fairs here. You hosted Girls Club dance here.
That's right.
You've hosted a lot of different things in this space. So Speak to kind of the diversity of the building and outside of just the performances themselves, what you enjoy the most
Mhm.
about this space.
Yeah, it's really, really lovely. I mean, it's very nice and calming and relaxed, and that, again, is part of the reason I really wanted most all of our shows to be reserved seating, and I don't want anybody to feel stressed when they come here. I just want them to be excited about seeing the show, grab some concessions, hang out, but it can host a variety of events. Now, we're not as large as, like, the Civic Center or something.
Right.
We can't host, 600 people in our lobby for, like, a sit-down dinner. We can do 200, um, and the Founders Lounge is just very nice and cozy, and, 70 or so is probably about the max in there, but it's a nice upscale place, especially when, there are several venues around here, but there's not, like, as many as you might find in a Birmingham or Huntsville or something
Right.
like that. So it's definitely an asset in that way. And so even like from a rental point of view, we try to make it very affordable so that our community groups can come and enjoy. And a lot of times if we've had girls club uh or women's club meetings,
Yeah.
and those are just like, come and we'll give you a tour and have your meeting here. So we love to have people come and enjoy the space.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, of course we've got the fellowship hall at the church,
Yeah.
and there's always somebody that's needing a space. And what I
Hmm.
always hear is the civic center is too big for us,
Right.
and there other spaces are too small,
Right.
for what we need. And so I think that it's a great asset to have a space
Hmm.
to where you can, be that middle ground. I mean,
Right.
there's few events, especially in a city our size, that
Mhm.
host over 500 people for a sit down dinner and different things of that nature.
Right.
So being able to have a comfortable space where you feel a little bougie
Yeah.
when you walk in, you feel like you had to dress up to be
Yeah.
here.
And I'm
Um,
determined to have a wedding here.
yeah.
I think it would be really, I've already got a vision for it. So if anybody's ready,
Sure.
150 would probably be a great size.
Yeah.
So if you have a wedding of like 150 or less, I got you covered. Because off of the Founders Lounge area, there is like kind of a little patio green space, though we have a little bit of construction happening out there. Soon that'll be kind of wrapped up. So it'll be even nicer. But you could do a little indoor outdoor like cocktail hour, and do your ceremony, and it can switch into a like a dinner dancing situation. So I think there's a lot of potential for that. So
One day,
one day.
one day.
But there are lots of, I love that you were talking about, kind of seeing that other perspective of like the performing arts. Because again, like my background really is visual art. I had a visual art business for a long time. I've taught, painting and drawing and all of that. And so I've learned a whole lot from that side. And even I didn't realize how many jobs there are. I think when you think theater, you're like, oh, I can't act,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's a million other things you can do. So people that don't like to be in front of the camera at all or don't want to be on the stage, there's plenty to do. And I love our tech friends. I just think it takes all personalities.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting industry because there are certain industries that you have a certain type of personality that fits into there, and maybe they're all A type or they're all introverted for the most part. But this, you get the whole range.
Yeah.
So it's really, really interesting. And, you can be super nerdy. That's great. We love all that. You can be, super kind of sporty, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's a place for you here.
That's
So
great.
it's pretty cool.
That's great. Well, folks, you've
Mhm.
heard it here all about the Baker Center. A reminder to you, our church, First Methodist Enterprise, is going to be having our community Easter service here at the Jimmy H. Baker Center for the Arts at the Communities College, Enterprise State Community College, April 5th at 10:30. We're going to be worshiping in the auditorium. There'll be some different snacks and things for you as you walk in, an opportunity for you to get your Easter picture every year and all the fun things. But we're really looking forward to the opportunity to worship in this space as a community gathered together on Easter Sunday. And so as we get ready to close, Jessica, is there anything else that you want to say about the Baker Center that we need to know, or anything that you just if you don't know anything else, you need to know this?
Yeah, I think, I want to thank you so much for this. This is like above and beyond what I would have expected, sort of kind of featuring the center. There's a lot of passion that's gone into this place. I think we're just on the cusp of what we're going to be able to offer to our community here, and hope that everybody comes in. But we are really, really looking forward to this Easter service. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to sound amazing. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
We're excited. Well, folks, thanks for joining us for the Know, Grow, Go. Make sure to share this. Share it with folks that may be interested about the Baker Center, and with all your friends. And make sure to comment, like, and subscribe on our YouTube page so you never miss a video that we post. We'll see you soon, Easter Sunday, this coming Sunday at 10:30 a.m. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much.